Hey everyone, how's it going? Noxiddar here, otherwise known as the world's slowest growing chia pet. We've finally made it to the end of our first saga in One Piece, the East Blue Saga. This has felt like a long time coming, almost a year in fact, and I definitely can guarantee we will be doing the future of One Piece a whole lot faster than the way that we did, knock on wood. I do want to give people a bit of a heads up. I completely plan to unleash the full might of my Yap devil fruit powers at the end of this video and talk about how much this One Piece story up to this point means to me, what it means to be surrounded by so much support from the existing One Piece community, and maybe even like a little retrospective on my journey through YouTube up to this point. But I realize we are here for the reaction first. So, starting with episode 60 and ending with 61, let's go ahead and get right to our reaction. That's right, Grandpa Ryu is not in a good way right now. Oh, nice. Yeah, they better look out. That's coming back with some force. Pretty close. I was gonna say, he questioned whether Luffy understood the value of the dragon right there, but that kind of like speaks to his language. He pretty much makes incredibly accurate value assessments, particularly people within his own network and the way he associates with them. That's kind of a silly question on his part. That's right. Oh, eyes are popping open. Is it gonna be like a new island popping up or something? That's crazy. What's that, right? It would make sense why he just wanted to hang out right there. Oh. I really like non-sleeping Grandpa Ryu. He's got a great voice. Oh, no way. Oh, wow. That guy's like, oh yeah, target-rich environment. Turns out, though, he was the target. Oh, that's so cool. I love how they use Grandpa Ryu's eyes to kind of like reflect how he's seeing the world. Oh, come on. Uh-oh. Just gonna borrow you for a quick second. Oh my gosh. I love these moments of like huge destruction because I feel like they're just an appetizer for what we can expect, right? Like, it's always fun watching like just bodies flying Dynasty Warriors style, but like the actual destruction of the environment and or, you know, major pieces, buildings, infrastructure, vehicles of this sort, like I feel like that really sets the tone for where the damage scaling is at. This is pretty crazy, but you know what? Every time you put Luffy in such a state where he gets serious. He deals out the serious damage. It's so much fun to watch. This commercial break brought to you by... Oh my gosh. It's shaking almost as much as the earthquake underneath. That's crazy. I think these Marines would be thinking twice at this point. Oh no. Their hasty retreat has become quite the logistical nightmare. I think you can feel them too. Oh my goodness. There it is. Oh, that's so cool how it's animating bringing the land up to the surface there. That's cool. I swear this song makes every epic moment that much better. It's so good. Seeing how close he came to actually just being on the nest. What a powerful image. This is a thought that crossed my mind, and I don't really need it answered. But when Nami asks if he understands the dragon's language, and then like just preceding this arc, there's the moment where Dragon sets a storm to provide the wind in their sails to get them away from Logtown and on their adventure into the Grand Line. While it may not be a literal one-to-one, I almost wonder if that isn't purposefully asked in such a way to help us draw the connection there. And it's so hard to do like all this guessing and try to connect events when everyone goes to great extraordinary lengths to say that it's a filler. It isn't there. I've been really hesitant the last episodes to try to analyze, you know, the things that I think people want to see, because for the most part, like, I've just kind of had the winds taken out of my sail. It's like, you need to know that this has no bearing or consequence. And it's like, I think because I really have enjoyed it, it's made this idea that, like, so antagonistic. Like, I went on a 7-minute rant in the last video where it was just like, just let me enjoy it for what it is. I talked about this in a previous reaction that I just did for, like, Delicious in Dungeon. Am I kind of weird for thinking that people telling me something is a filler when it's information that's like completely unsolicited is in some ways kind of like a spoiler? And maybe it doesn't spoil like overarching plot, but it does kind of spoil the mood. I don't know. It was enough that I went on like a 7.5-minute rant in the last video, but it has made it kind of hard to try to analyze what's in front of me because I've just had like this insidious thought implanted in my brain where it's like, there's no point. People have already told you it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't go anywhere. And then I have people on the other half that are like, you know, I love the filler. I watch all of it. I think a lot of it is good. And I love seeing comments like that. And I just sit there and think, how much have I lost over the last several episodes since coming back from like a long hiatus, just because people have curbed my expectations. And that's kind of what I was getting at with like feeling like people are really influencing the journey and why it's so important to me going forward, particularly after this point, get as far into One Piece as I can so that the next time like a filler arc comes up, when it's posted on YouTube, I'm probably so far beyond that it won't blemish how I do the reaction in the moment. So to sit here and see like the culmination of this story arc, to see Grandpa reach the end of his journey here, to see the dragon's nest and the lost island revealing itself, and the understanding of what the last 1,000 years has meant to these people of this island particularly, and of this legend, and of the dragons themselves. I think all of that is so cool, and it's incredible storytelling. I'm looking forward to the point where the journey is exactly what I set out to experience, which was stepping into the unknown. Going back to Curious George lyrics at the opening song, you never do know what's around the bend. A big adventure or a brand new friend. And that's kind of how I want to experience One Piece, if that's okay with you. But we still have much more left in our episode. Let's get back to it. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, he's still around? I guess he was pretty buoyant, so that makes sense. Hey, you could have fooled me. Oh. Ooh. That hair gets me. I love it. Oh man, are we getting a showdown with Eric? That's crazy. So before we move on to the next episode, I really wanted to say one of the things that kind of came to me as we're seeing like the culmination of the millennial dragons here on the Dragon's Nest, and just this serene, majestic like background with the silhouette of the island in the distance, and then the new island that has come up from the sea. The way that perspective has changed for Apis, appreciation that the crew has for the experience that they've been able to have. And I just couldn't help but feel like it almost seemed through the course of this arc like our crew had somehow found their way into an almost fairy tale styled story. I don't mean fairy tale the anime. I mean fairy tale in the traditional sense. It felt like there was this incredible moral lesson. And I'm sure if you break it down, it actually has many, many different lessons to be applied. Feeling lost, feeling found, bravery and sacrifice in the face of incredible odds. But I think even just from 30,000 feet, the different locations and the rich history at which the elder of the village spoke at great lengths and put everybody to sleep. And so while this filler arc may not have much bearing on the main story, I think that contained within itself is an opportunity to reflect on who you are, where you're going, and what's important to you. I think ultimately that's the biggest takeaway from this arc, is just how much it felt like a family in a way that it hadn't throughout the main story yet as of this moment. But that is also something that I think we are going to carry into the next arc, or at least I hope so. I still kind of grapple with this idea that the people out there that are dismissive of the fact that it is filler, I think completely missed the necessity of this filler. I think for so many people it's about getting to the end and then looking back and seeing what's important. I'm a 37-year-old guy about to be 38. I've tried my hand at writing stories. I've self-published. And so I think about things beyond just when the next action scene is going to come. When someone that somebody else said was important is something that I should pay attention to. Like, you ever just go outside and watch the leaves change during the season, if you happen to be in the appropriate climate for that? No one tells you what to appreciate, how to appreciate it. You're just simply a witness. And you witness this cycle that has gone on for years and years and years and will continue on. And so I'm really trying to experience the moment as it happens. Because there will be new channels and they will watch these episodes. And then there will be new channels after that that start their One Piece journey for the first time. I am myself starting this One Piece journey for my first time. And it's the only time I have. And so while I'm looking forward to seeing where the story goes, I want to know where the story is. What I'm really trying to say is, before we go into this last episode and then I really break down my thoughts, I'm not doing a very good job just doing the reaction thing, but this is my reaction in a lot of respects. I just want people to know that I've really enjoyed this particular arc. I don't need it to be important. It just is important. Like watching the leaves change colors and fall. I took the time to stop and appreciate it for what it is. And I know somebody else will come along. One of these days. These things tend to be cyclical and they'll experience it too. And I would hope the people who find it so important that somebody knows that something is filler, maybe just wait after the fact. Let people experience things as they always have been. That'd be my only request to the people out there. But you know, everybody's been lovely. I don't think anybody's been antagonistic. It's just that sometimes, you know, and maybe it's because of my older age. Maybe it's because I want a good story more than I want to be hyped up and go crazy and wave my hands around and scream and, you know, peek my microphone. That's not really like my cup of tea. A lot of people say I'm really chill, and I used to take offense to that because I thought it meant like I was boring. But now I just really kind of understand that it's just like I want to reflect the authenticity of how I'm feeling. Let's move on to our next episode, episode 61. If you think about it, if he's still cursed by the devil fruit and the sea would sap his strength, and being immortal on top of that, wouldn't he just like have an unfortunate accident at some point where he's just like an anchor at the bottom of the sea? Something Luffy could relate to on some level. But yeah, that doesn't seem like that would be much of an existence. I don't think Eric's thinking this through, is what it sounds like. Uh-oh. Got the shadow over the eyes, you know what that means. Ooh. Oh, we are taking some damage. Oh, man. Oh. Oh, he hit him with that wombo combo. That's pretty much how he took out Kudo in the live action. Well, minus the bazooka. It's a pretty fast battle. That guy did not stand a chance. Here we go. Oh. There it is. Another island, another friend, another adventure. Report of love. Oh my gosh. Here we go. How many times have I said that this episode? Right.
4つの海の大きな海流がすべてこの山に向かって流れているとしたら、4つの海流はこの運河を駆け上って頂上でぶつかり、グランドラインへ流れ出る。誤って運河に入り損なったりしたら、ボーイングメリー号はレッドラインの岸壁にぶつかって船は大破。なるほど。要するに不思議山なんだな。ああ、わかんないでしょうけど。
I love that he's up for it. Just, okay, there it is. Let's do it. I'm actually really glad that there was a bit of a visual for how that might operate and work going up Reverse Mountain. It was the one thing that we got left with virtually right at the end of the live action One Piece. And, you know, just hearing it and hearing Nami kind of explain it just in that little brief bit, I was kind of like, how is that gonna work? So I'm really glad that I'm finally able, almost a year later, to be able to see it for myself. Hey, as long as we don't crash into that, yeah, we can be super excited about it, sure. Oh, that's gonna be nuts to see that animated. Just keep holding on, man. Most likely. Oh, cool. That looks like something I would build an ark to trap one of those big birds, the Argentavis. They don't need that. Oh. Oh, he's gonna hit him. Oh, okay. I was expecting him to hit Zoro again for like the 1,000th time. I think Zoro's starting to learn, maybe. Oh, wow. Is that Eric aboard there? Yep. Sicko fruit. Man, that's so cool. Holy cow. Oh, that seems like it's gonna be violent. Wow. Wow. So my first immediate thoughts here at Reverse Mountain and watching them go up it and then subsequently down it is I am so looking forward to seeing how that is going to be animated and shot and brought to life in the One Piece live action. And I think that's what's so fun about doing a reaction for One Piece now, particularly right now, especially with we've just recently had a bunch of casting announcements for season 2. We've got Netflix Geeked Week coming up in September, and even before that, here by the time this video comes out tomorrow, it'll be what, a matter of days before One Piece Day. We might see some further casting announcements. I don't think we're going to see footage or anything. We might see a teaser or something at Geek Week, but even that seems pretty close to when they started filming. But I'm sure that they have some special, maybe some behind the scenes stuff that they'll show for us. I think for maybe a lot of One Piece fans out there, it might be kind of strange that I'm spending so much time right here at the very end of the anime talking about the live action. Well, that's kind of been, if you're new to this reaction journey, that's kind of how my journey began. So let's get into it, and then I'll kind of like talk about the One Piece anime as a whole here. But I have to start at the beginning here. I work at a high school, and I had a student that I worked with for 8 years with cerebral palsy, and we worked one-on-one. I kind of helped them with everything. He taught me a lot. He taught me a lot more than I ever taught him. You know, he taught me how to be patient, how to just not worry about the little things, you know? Like he had a laugh that could just fill up a whole room. And unfortunately, his senior year, he passed away right around our US holiday and Thanksgiving in November. And so I spent Christmas break, New Year's, and the second semester of his senior year kind of just feeling lost and really unsure what life was going to look like going forward. I didn't realize how much I had invested so much of myself, you know, into him until I just didn't have him anymore. And so you might remember here earlier in the reaction, I mentioned Curious George. Well, Curious George was his favorite show, and I listened to that intro song when he would do marathon runs through like all 5 seasons of the show on Hulu or something back when it was on. And so I always heard the main theme song, and that was one of the lyrics of it is, "You never do know what's around the bend, a big adventure or a brand new friend. When you're curious, like Curious George." And those words really struck me, as particularly when his class asked me to speak at graduation, and I realized that, you know, he was taken so suddenly, and I never really had a chance to process that. And so those words carried a lot of weight. The thing that I kind of just tried to take out of my brain, but the way he would get so excited about going on these adventures. I have had a YouTube channel that was a gaming channel for a long time. Mostly did it because the kids, when they were in 5th grade, dared me to do it. They didn't think I would, and so I did. I made a YouTube channel, and it gained some subscribers here or there. But I just wanted to give it all up because there was no joy in it. There's no joy in doing anything, really. I just wanted to take the next 3 months of that summer break, which was last summer, and kind of just give up and just fully surrender to nothingness. I made like a little video saying that I was just gonna step away from things for a while. I had no intention of coming back to it. And I remember laying in bed one night, and I was scrolling through YouTube, and I came across Netflix had just dropped a teaser trailer for live action One Piece. I had to do a double take because there've been a lot of videos with thumbnails that were Photoshop, fan made, and taken from elements everywhere, and they were just fake. They weren't real. But I saw this was the official Netflix channel, and I thought, no way. And so immediately the meme comes to mind. You have the manga, the anime, and then the Netflix adaptation. And so there's that kind of moment of hesitation, and it's like, oh, I don't know if this is a good choice or not. I had kind of already dismissed One Piece out of hand, out of sight, out of mind when I had lived in Japan for 4 years as an English teacher before I came back to the States to work with this boy. And so I was initially like, well, I'll watch it. I'm watching everything else going down the rabbit hole on YouTube, and I watched it. And from the soft piano playing to Iñaki Godoy's narration as Luffy, to seeing these fully realized CGI enhanced sets, and then all of these practical sets that look like they came right off of a play production, and they had that like tangible feel to them. And something that's always incredible about that is like when you see something that is like realia, that you can put in your hands, right? That you can touch and interact with, that always feels like it comes from a place of love. Like that, more than anything else, this feeling of like going on an adventure, it just smacked me like a freight train. It came out of nowhere. And I heard those words in my head again. You never do know what's around the bend. A big adventure or a brand new friend. And I realized I had had my moment of closure speaking at graduation. And I realized that if I wanted to keep that spirit of my student alive in my heart, the best way to honor him was to go on an adventure. And so I'm seeing all these mixed comments about, you know, people, they had fully embraced the Netflix adaptation meme and who needs this? We don't need this. And I'm sitting there and quietly thinking to myself as I take in these comments and I watch this show, and I'm like, maybe people don't need this, but I kind of feel like I do. So I had no intention of doing reaction videos whatsoever. The night before the show went live, they had dropped the final trailer. I was at work and I thought, I want to tell people how I feel. I had the overwhelming urge to just let people know how I felt about this. That I wanted people to know that there were people out there that were excited for it, because I felt like I was seeing like this, you know, preponderance of negativity. I wanted to be like the counter programming out there. And then I binged that show. I watched it, half of it overnight. Then I woke up as early as I could in the morning and I finished it before I went to work. And I just had like tears streaming down my face. I'd never experienced something that, and by the end of it, I felt something I'd never felt before. I felt inspired. I felt changed, different. And I don't mean that in like saying it like it's a hollow platitude or something like that. I legitimately felt that over the course of the years, putting so much of myself into somebody else, I had kind of let that flicker of inspiration and that creative spirit inside of me kind of just like dim. And so watching this show, it felt like such a spark. And all of a sudden, I became passionate about creation and creating things all over again, and art, and it was like I had experienced this kind of like renaissance. and it was only through doing a review, something I'd never done before, and I still think mine's very different than anybody else's review of Netflix One Piece, because I didn't want to tell people what I thought about One Piece Netflix. I wanted to show people how it felt to experience it. And that's kind of, so it's like super artsy fartsy, but I love it. I love it. I was really proud of that video. And in it, I'd kind of thrown around the idea in the comments that, hey, maybe people are enjoying watching these kind of thoughts. Maybe I would react to the anime. And people seem pretty warm to that idea. And so now we're wrapping up our first saga in the anime and struggle to find the way to kind of put all of those feelings and culminate them across 61 episodes of animation. You know, I speak to the nature of adventure, and by the end of the adventure, it always feels so satisfying and fulfilling. But the truth is, even when you're in the midst of it, there are things there are like peaks and valleys. And I think we spend so much time remembering the peaks that sometimes we forget that there are valleys. Not even just in the narrative story, but also in our own lives. And I had to step away from this and just make sure my family was going to be okay. We had gotten devastating news that my father had stage 4 colorectal cancer, and that and to be just a few months after dealing with putting closure on the loss of a student who had in a lot of ways felt like a child and taught me what it would be like to be a father, and then to sit here and feel like there is a chance, you know, I could lose my father. And it's just like people always talk about how they like how analytical and how deep I can get with things, and that's a double-edged sword, because I was just crippled and crushed under the weight of, I couldn't escape my own thoughts in that moment. It was weird. I felt like I was in some kind of Marvel multiverse when I'm sitting across my father at the dinner table, because I always share dinner with my family at their house. And so to simultaneously see my father sitting across from me while also simultaneously having to imagine the empty chair, it was so emotionally and mentally arresting that I could not function. I did the very minimum that I needed to do. I went to work and I grunted and nodded at people and gave kids the stink eye to make sure that their behavior was fine, but I couldn't even imagine sitting down and giving my thoughts over an anime. I had to set aside the adventure, and that's kind of, unfortunately, that's the reality of going on journeys like that, is it's not always clear skies and fair winds. Sometimes you have to brace the storm, and sometimes that storm can take you completely off course, and you have to find a way to redirect and bring yourself back to center so that you can fly your sails true to your destination. That's what it means to me to finally make it here, to reverse mountain, heading into the Grand Line. It took a long time. For a lot of people that are watching and enjoying this, too long. For those of you feeling pretty much the same as me, I'm glad we're finally here. We look forward to what's next. And so I take all of these things into consideration. It wasn't just a 37-year-old guy sitting down and watching an animated series. I'm going on this journey within my own life, discovering new paths and new opportunities that have opened themselves up to me. And that's where you come in, because that's what makes these opportunities and really defines these adventures, is all the participation in the comments, all of the likes, all of the encouraging words, even some of the disparaging words. Even in the intro, I talked about eating the yap devil fruit, and that was I think a disparaging comment from someone in the very early reaction to One Piece from episodes 1, 2, 3, and I'm sure it was meant to be an insult, but I thought it was kind of hilarious, because if you were to actually spend a day with me outside of doing the YouTube thing, but like just living, just chilling, vibing in my own life, I tend to listen. I don't tend to talk very much. So when people say this guy yaps, it's because, it's like a pressure buildup. I've been holding on to a lot. I don't talk very often. So I guess really what I'm trying to say, having this retrospective look at my channel, but then also considering where we are, where we're going, where we've yet to be, and all of the people that we will meet along the way, all the people that we have met, and some of the ones we lost. The sheer scale and magnitude of the experience that is being shaped before my very eyes is unlike anything I have ever experienced. It breaks my brain every time I try to break down the logistics of how I'm going to get anywhere close to 1100 episodes in the next couple of years, maybe not even this decade, which is crazy to think. I'm going to do my absolute best to at least record a bunch of videos. The rate at which they show up on YouTube, that is a whole other can of worms, and I'm eventually going to have to come to that. But for now, we're going to stay steady with a video per week until we hit such an incredible backlog that we have no choice but to do multiple uploads throughout the week. And one of the other things that I think about is, yeah, it took us almost a year to get through 61 episodes. And for a lot of people, that's really hard to commit to. And I understand that. And if your commitment takes you elsewhere, or you find someone that has a better way of doing this format, you enjoy their content, please, by all means, support them. This has always been kind of a solo journey. So with it being a solo journey, the intent was always for me to go to these places first, to step foot in there, to look around, share my thoughts, share my experiences, allow my life to be transformed by it. And then at a certain point, share that with others and let others see where I had been, not direct the steps of where I was going. And so this filler has really taught me a lot about how important it is to pursue that goal relentlessly. I can't stress enough how much I'm looking forward to that, to getting lost inside of One Piece, where I'm so far ahead than what's being uploaded on YouTube that people actually don't really know where I am in the story. That's kind of that's the dream. That's the goal right now, is to just get lost. We know where we are, we know where we're going, and it's time to really embrace that mystery of the unknown. That's what I'm looking forward to, and that's what I'm going to work my hardest to do. Now it feels like we're starting. Before it felt like we were preparing, and our journey was collecting supplies and crewmates and things alike, and now we are actually on an adventure. I cannot wait. I can't wait to dive into the manga and read all of these chapters, experience all of Eiichiro Oda's bonus materials and supplementary ideas and scene by scenes, Q&As. I'm looking forward to diving into that. I've got future projects in the works, but for now, I am very much looking forward to the next saga and having it have my entire focus. We still have many more adventures to go on. We will continue uninterrupted, definitely getting to work to getting several videos ahead so that we will not have any breaks. That is what I have committed myself to. So, God willing, I can make that happen, and I can make that happen for everybody else. But for now, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for going on this journey with me. Thank you so much for sticking with me this far. And thank you so much for listening to my devil fruit power, the yap yap fruit. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Noxiddar, out. We'll see ya.